This country was settled on the basis that it was going to be a white country. And for many, many decades, that was the case. When the Chinese, who were the first, I suppose, big population to come out here, when they were invited here, gradually we became accepted.
They came from southern China, rural country folk. They came here to make a life on the other side of the world. Imagine being 20 years old or 19 years old and going to the other side of the world and starting something from scratch.
My father came out from China way back in 1920, and he was preceded by his father, my grandfather, who came here in 1910.
My auntie was here, Mrs. Wong. 1933 she came to New Zealand, and then she sponsored my father to come here in 1947.
Our ancestors came here because they were going to die in China, because they were going to starve to death. They couldn't provide for their families, so they came out here to the Sun, the new gold mountain.
With the decline of the gold, those Chinese who were here and who hadn't met their goal to be able to go back had to find some other way of making a living. Market gardening and supplying fruit and vegetables to the miners was a vital role that Chinese miners did from a very early point. They had gardens. You know, they came from that background, they were very skilled at that, and they quickly saw we can make money from doing this, you know, just as easily as selling gold. So there were quite a few market gardeners. Businesses that you could get into without a lot of capital, and in which labour was the key component, and to which the Chinese could bring the labour of themselves and of their relatives. So young men would come out from the villages, now not coming to go gold seeking, but they'd come out to the family business, and now they begin to develop this way of going back and forth between New Zealand and China. They'd spend time here, they'd go back to Guangdong, they'd get married, they'd have a child, they'd come back. You know, and so it was a broken stem society where the men were out here and the families they were supporting were back in Guangdong.
My great-grandfather came out in 1920. He arrived in New Zealand in January 1920. Some of them found this place here in Ashburton, and he answered the call to come up here and help set up what we know today as King Brothers. It provided a focal point for many that had immigrated to New Zealand from overseas. It was a place where countrymen could come to, knowing that there was a small settlement here in Ashburton where people could provide you shelter, could provide work, maybe a little education about New Zealand before moving on to another site.
The reason why Chinese people went into the market garden, because probably they didn't have any professions. They actually came from the country in China. It's a natural thing to actually bring what you know, and if you don't know anything, you will just do any other job that will actually keep us alive. But we definitely are quite enterprising people.
Yes, they were hard workers. They didn't have tractors in the early days. Horse and cart was the mode of transport, so yes, it was hard work. They endured conditions that a lot of people wouldn't endure today.
I think all Chinese kids work for their parents, and we were no exception. We probably started when we were about 5, 6, 7. If you can pull a couple of weeds out or shift some boxes or pick some carrots or tomatoes, it was the go. But I do remember starting in the shop when I was 7.
As I grew up in their market gardens, the fruit shops and fewer laundries and fish and chip shops, they got educated. They were encouraged to go on to higher learning, so that there were many of them who went to university. They were accepted there. They graduated and then became members of the medical profession, the dental profession, accountancy, and in my case, law.
I don't think many market gardening family parents actually want their children to continue market gardening. They encourage our children to get an education, get a degree of some sort, get a profession of some sort, and go out into the world and not struggle like they do.